Cactus farms on Minecraft Bedrock Edition are, well, lossy at best. And that's because Cactus kills items, including itself. Wow, look at my fancy bubble column with no water in it. It's absolutely incredible, peeps. But enough about that. If you want to check that out, you should check out my live streams or my live stream VODs, which go up on my second channel. Anyway, Cactus. Cactus is a strange beast because it hurts on the side and now it hurts on the top, which it never used to, which means making a cactus farm, which is the way it always should have been, but it never was on Bedrock Edition. So in order to get a lot of cactus, you need a lot of cactus, which brings me back to my dye scraper. That's right, you heard me right, the skyscraper that is made for dyes. In the last episode, we made this ridiculously large sea pickle farm, and in the episode before that, we made this ridiculously OP flower farm. Smashed my way in there to put them all back again to start it again. But I'm not worried about that right now. What I am worried about is how much space I need to leave between each level so that we've got plenty of room above the sea pickle farm. Since then, this one's not actually high enough to fit this one in, so we're going to have to go a little bit higher. And I think that should be just about right. Now it's going to look a little bit odd from the outside when we start getting the floors in at random points up this skyscraper, but I'm going to take that as a challenge when it comes to building this thing. I mean, what I could do is just bring this floor down a little bit and therefore, you know, extend the bottom of the skyscraper, which might not be a bad thing to do so that everything's nice and equal. But let's not get bogged down with silly things like how tall the floors need to be. Let's get this cactus farm done. Leave anybody that says otherwise, because clearly I've used it a lot, so therefore it must mean it is the most beautiful block in the game. Thought you liked deep slate and andesite. Well, it's a joke, guys. It's a joke. Jeez. And now with that floor pretty much completely done, we now need to maximize our efficiency by packing in as much cactus into this space as possible, which means we need to work from the way up, starting with the storage system so we know where everything's going to be. Now, what it means is if we've got our walls there like that, the closest our cactus can be to the wall is there. And I am going to do the cactuses every other block like that. I can't go here because the wall again might be thinking, well, if this cactus grows a new piece of cactus, it might go into that one and die. And it will. But there's going to be so many cactuses, we're just going to be working on the basis that some will make it into the storage system and we'll have so many cactuses that will be plenty. Cacti! Cactuses, that's what I said. Cacti! Pardon? You got something wrong with your throat, mate? Now, because cactus grows so slowly, and realistically we're probably not going to be collecting all that much of it in a short period of time, we're not going to have to go crazy with the storage system. No, this time I am going to have a couple of chests there and a couple of chests there, and that is going to be it for our cactus for now, and all that I'm going to do is just run a whole bunch of hoppers into that chest there like that. Oh, it's all going so well. One more. Which means the walls of our cactus farm are actually going to start there, and that means we're going to have a little bit less room for our cactus farm at this end, because I do want somewhere to be able to walk around inside this thing. I am also mildly concerned that when we come to decorating this skyscraper, if this is our back wall and our system's going right up to it, that's going to be a little bit awkward from the outside to add any detail on. So I think I might bring it in another block in this direction, like that. And then when we do build the skyscraper walls, I might actually do it a block on the outside rather than this being the outside wall. And then I got a bit more space. So I'm going to bring from the hoppers out each way as many blocks as I can in order to put water on. So that's going to come out to there. It's going to cost me many glass. And once I have my many glass in, I just need to hop over the middle slightly, but that's absolutely fine. It's not a problem. Hoppers. So that's our storage and collection system 100% complete. Having said that, it's all off-center now by a block. I don't like it being off-center by a block. And as much as I don't need more hoppers and they don't need more chests, I want to put another row of hoppers in and another 2 chests so that it's equal. Oh man, around for good measure. I think we are ready to start actually building the cactus farm itself. So let's do that, I guess. And the way we're going to do that is relatively simple. And it's going to require a lot of slabs and, as I said, a lot of sand. So the closest piece of sand that we can put in here is going to be here. which means it needs to be on a solid block. So we're going to put a solid block there, and we're going to put a sand on there, and that's going to be our first cactus. But I don't want it sat on a solid block because that looks ugly. So now what I'm going to do is slab out the entire area within here that we can actually put cactuses on. Cacti, that's what I said. And once I've done that, I'm then going to organize my sand so that it's a nice checkerboard pattern and see how many we're going to get in here. And altogether, that is 35 pieces of sand, which is going to be 35 cacti per level. Now, I am tempted to actually bring this out another block in this direction because I want a bit more. And now I just got to go through the painstaking process of removing all of the slabs, which are going to handily go into the water system below. And then I'm going to extend this out one block a little bit further, just so the cactus doesn't all end up getting stuck on the wall. Which means I need more hoppers, which means I need more iron, which means I need to go back down here, box, and take it back up with me. Jeez. And now that that's all done, I could just start building up all of the next levels and getting all of the sand in place ready for the cactuses. However, I want my cactus to start growing while I'm doing this because I don't have very much cactus to actually start placing in this thing, so I need to do the iron, which I'm going to turn into ingots, and then a whole bunch of those into nuggets, and I'm going to make a whole bunch of chains, and then some more chains, and then some more, and then some more, and then I get disconnected from the... oh, great. And because it is time to put the chains in, and the chains need to be in a very specific place. They need to be at this level here, and they need to be in places where they're going to affect as many cactuses as and deal with all 4 of those there. And the only 2 that aren't going to get dealt with are there. So actually we do need one. Oh, geez, we're going to need loads of chains. Oh, man. Whoops. Yeah, and don't... oh, yeah. Whatever. Now, there is actually a sneaky way that you can place blocks next to cactus in order to help you build and put other things on so that you're not having to... oh, geez. Oh, no. Fall in and get stuck like I do every opportunity I get. Jeez, let me out. I don't want to look in the hopper. I want to place a block. I don't want to place a slab. I want to place a block. Oh, jeez. Jump. There we go. Right. Anyway, as I was saying, sneaky tactic. I better go down and get some sneaky tactic things which are actually all of the way over here near my base. And now that I've collected them, it's time to go back again. You see, there is a solid block in the game that you can put right next to cactus, which won't break the cactus, but in order to use it, you need leather boots. So I'm going to pop on these leather boots here. I'm going to grab myself some powdered snow, and you'll see if I don't... jeez. If I don't keep falling down all of the holes, that is. That in order to put the chain on top of this cactus here or next to that cactus, I can just put some powdered snow there. And then I can put my chain on top. And if I need to, I can stand on that powdered snow because I've got leather boots on, which is absolutely marvelous. So yes, top tips from FoxyNoTail. In order to put stuff next to cactus, just use a little bit of powdered snow. It's not cheating. So we now have 5 pieces of chain that are activating 16 pieces of cactus. So the next pieces of chain that we're going to need, because all of those 4 are dealt with and all of those 4 are dealt with, are going to need to be in between these ones here. So we're going to need a chain there, like that, which will deal with those ones. We're going to need a chain to deal with that one. So basically we're going to have it in a line like this now instead. And it's nice and easy to place the chain with the cactus trick, with the powdered snow trick. So now that's all of those ones, all surrounded by chains. I don't believe there's any cactus there now that won't be popped off due to the chains, which takes us to our last 2 rows on this level. And in order to deal with these ones, the place that we need to have our powdered snow is here. Just there. Perfect. Oh, this is rather wonderful. It's all working out so well. Bit of chain. Powdered snow chain, powdered snow chain, and then cactus, bedtime. And there we go, with very little effort, that is level 1 of our cactus farm done. However, it does look like I've missed 1 piece of chain over here because I need to bring the glass up, or a wall, it doesn't have to be glass, all the way up around this thing because the cactus will pop off and go on the glass instead of the water streams. But there we go. And we're just going to rinse, repeat, do exactly the same thing again. Everybody panic! The wandering trader is here! No wandering traders allowed in this village. You are affecting the whatever it is, the people trading and stuff. Now for the second layer, the sand needs to match up exactly with the sand below. If I put the sand in a crisscross pattern, all that's going to happen is the piece of cactus here is going to either fall down there or there or there, and it's going to end up on the cactus below. So they do need to match. Of loss because the items will fall onto that cactus or that cactus. There's less chance with this design of the cactus actually falling down the hole where we want it to go than there would be if you was to do one of these designs where you have everything with a good block apart. But I'm just basing this on the idea that if we've got enough cactus, we're going to get enough opportunity for stuff to fall down, and over time it's going to give us many cactus. Which, why do we want cactus? For green dye, of course, you moron. Jeez, why don't you even know these things? Do you even Minecraft, bro? Now, if you don't want to waste slabs like I'm doing here to put underneath the sand, and you've got an absolute ton of string, you can actually have your sand floating on string. However, in my experience, putting string there means that accidental little mishaps happen where you just happen to hit the string. And then all of the sand falls down, breaking the system below, and a bit less of a nightmare. So, a little bit into the second level, and I have now completely run out of cactus. However, the good news is, if we go down here and look in the chest, we should have so many cactus, it's unbelievable because of the ultra... What? That is the best farm anyone's ever designed for cactus, I'm telling you. Now I've actually totally run out of cactus. I need to go and get some more, which means I need to go and head over to a desert, which is a good thing because I actually need to go gather an absolute ton of farm in the hopes that while I'm away, this is close enough to the cactus farm that it will actually load it. So Chuck is around about there, so I'm hoping that's within enough distance on our simulation distance of 4 that it might just about be loaded, but I'm not 100% sure. So yes, time for me to go off and find a desert so that we can get many sand and many cactus. Well, it turns out the closest desert outside of the build limit is a really long way away. So long, in fact, it's used up a third of my elytra just getting this far, and I'm still 1,000 blocks away. Because this is the one which is near a jungle and the place that you get to be very slow. Is it? It's just as quick with your hand, apparently. Shears? No. Trousers with them breaking on? No. However, there obviously is a much quicker way. See, cactus won't support itself, so you just need a shovel. And the way I'm going to do that is just running up and down in lines and saying hello without falling off things. And then satisfying cactus destruction. A 5 tall cactus. A 6 tall cactus. Jeez. A 7 tall cactus. Wow, it turns out... I wonder if I could make an 8 tall cactus. 7, 8. No, an 8 tall cactus. Wow. Jeez. And there we go. I have filled up 1, 2, 3, 4 sugar boxes of sand. I have a hot... It hasn't been running at all. That was a total waste of oh, jeez. Well, at least let's find out if he got any mob drops while he was in there. Gee, I can't believe that. Oh, yes. Well, at least we've been getting many mobs. Oh, jeez. Yeah, we need to... We might... Oh, jeez. We might need to have a bit of a clear out here. Just chuck all of that on the floor. No one will notice. It's like beef jerky to them. And look, we've got 4 little churches going to be all over this stuff. Hello, chaps. I have for you your favourite. Everything's fixed. Lovely. And just as I get here, lo and behold, who should arrive? You've guessed it, it's our favourite person, the wandering idiot. What done with your llamas? Where did... right, okay, whatever. Okay, I have some good news. That is that I now have 4 layers of this, which is great, but now I've run out of glass. So I need to go and see those clerics and my librarians again and get more of that good stuff rather than smelting all of that sand, because I need that sand for other things. No spoilers. Already through this, which is not loads, but over time, after many time of Chuck not actually being able to reach it from the platform, good planning on my part there, yeah, a very small amount of cactus, I need to spend all of these emeralds on many glass. And if you are wondering and you don't already know, this is the exact reason I want to melt all of my sand, wasting all of my fuel and using all of my resources. And it just, and you already know, because, you know, you guys told me. But if there's anybody that doesn't know, I'm going to tell you now. Now, I'm buying all of this glass at 4 pieces of glass for 1 emerald, which is good deals. And as you can see, I can buy many, many glass from just these few villagers for a handful of emeralds, which is lovely. Now, one of the good things about glass is that it can be transformed into glass bottles. You see, I can get almost a stack of glass bottles from a stack of glass, and these guys just happen to buy glass bottles at 1 per emerald, which means every time you buy 12 pieces of glass, emeralds back. But I only spent 3. That's good money. That's very good money. So we can basically go to this glass, turn a whole bunch of it. Really frustrating now that I've made 4,000 bottles of it. In fact, I don't think many of these guys actually have this trade at all. Oh, geez. May have wasted a lot of glass there. Have all of that back that I don't need. I want to just point out there that this farm has diminishing returns, meaning the higher you build falls down, it's going to eventually hit a cactus on the way and end up, well, disappearing. So, realistically, if you wanted to get the most out of this style of farm, you would want to build it as wide as possible. Now, I've chunk-aligned this skyscraper just so that the redstone farm, realistically, if I was actually trying to make a decent, you know, fast cactus farm, I would build it a flat one, maybe 1 or 2 layers, but very, very long and very, very wide, and then AFK in the middle of it somewhere. I have an idea of what I want this farm to be able to achieve. An item in as each one smelts. Now, if I could get it to actually work with 2 furnaces and keep both of them going, all that one's gone, I want another one coming in so we're not wasting fuel. Oh my goodness, he is back again. He just doesn't get the message, this guy, does he? This village is protected. You can bring as many along. I want to see how many I've had after doing those last 3 levels. What's it gonna be? 43, not 44. I've also been going through on some of the higher levels and putting some torches in above the chains just to keep a little bit of light in there, because I was concerned that when it was nighttime, these things aren't going to grow quite as well. I have no idea if that actually affects cactuses. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little bit of AFK over here and gather enough cactus to fill this thing up. Then hopefully I'm going to be able to get a world download of this world, because I've got an idea, but I can only do it in creative. Well, I've been AFK for around about an hour, so I'm excited to see what we've got. And that's a lot more than I was expecting. Jeez. Okay, well, that's certainly plenty to finish off the last few layers, but I still want to do what I said I was going to do in the creative world. And there we go. This farm now has 400 cactuses in it. Cacti! Yes, that's what I said. Which seems a little bit ridiculous if you ask me, but it's working. Proof is in the pudding. We were getting plenty coming through in here. There's another 10 since just putting those in. So this is all good. But I don't know if they're coming fast enough through to actually feed a furnace yet. So let's see how that goes. Now, in order to do this properly, I actually need to have the furnace, well, the items going in the top rather than in the bottom, which they did before. But before was just to prove a point, and now I can't reach my furnace. That's no good. Give me another furnace. I got another one. Okay, good. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to have a furnace there. We're going to have those items there and those there, and that will feed all of those into the furnace. We're going to put the coal in there, and we're going to see, will we get more cactus coming in than we smelt? Now, obviously, there's going to be a few, you know, random average things going on here which will affect things, but it'd be interesting to find out. There's 2 in there now, you see. The random averageness is working out, which means we've got another one to smelt before the fuel is being wasted. And if another one comes in during that time, then we might just about have nailed it. I can hear one in the water. There it is. It was slow. I reckon another couple of layers on this farm and we would quite easily keep up with this single furnace. There we go. Another one's in there now, which is basically exactly what I wanted. And that's really all I needed. And now there's a gap. But how long will there be a gap for? That's the question. Oh, here we go. I heard one going in the water. And there it is. So it's not perfect yet. But like I said, I've got some ideas. And here we are on a creative copy of the world, and as I keep saying, I've got some ideas, but in order to do those ideas I need to do some rate tests first with the farm how it is, which means I need to run it with Cheat Engine in order to speed up the game, so that I can run it nice and quickly but saving myself a whole bunch of time. So what I'm going to do is empty all of this out, set up a little redstone system to basically stop this farm doing absolutely anything after an hour's worth of running, see how many cactus we got from 1 hour, and then do it all again after I've made my changes. So this command block here will teleport any item that's name is cactus 2 blocks up and 1 block across into this hopper here. So for instance, if I was to take this cactus and I was to throw it on the ground, it's going to be immediately picked up, it's going to be put in that hopper, and it's going to go into this chest. So by doing this, I don't have to worry about a collection system. I will know how many pieces of cactus are generated by this farm, regardless of what gets stuck or what falls down, which might be a little bit cheaty, but that's the way I'm going to do it. For at least the first test, because I want to know exactly how much cactus this thing picks up. These next 2 command blocks are using scoreboards. This command block is going to set a scoreboard called timer for all players to 0 when I flick this lever, and this one, every 20 ticks, is going to add 1. So this is basically going to count seconds, and as you can see on the right hand side of my screen, the seconds are going up, and when I flick the lever off, it's going to remember that, but when I start it again, it's going to go back to 0. In fact, it goes a bit too quickly. So we'll set that to -1, and then we actually get that right. So there we go. We've got those. So now what I can do is go back to this one and change it so that it says execute at A, that's all players who have a score of timer is less than 3,600. So 3,600 seconds is 1 hour, and then it will run that while my score is less than that. So as soon as it goes over an hour, it's going to stop teleporting the items into there, so I'll know exactly how many have been produced. So if I turn that one on, you'll see that that works. However, set my timer score to 3,700, and then throw some cactuses down, you see they're not going to get picked up. However, if I stop that and start it again, you're going to see they're immediately going to go in there. So that's how we're doing our hours counter. I need to stop this from actually generating stuff as well. So let's add another command block onto here. And this command block is going to do game rule random tick speed 1. So when, again, I activate this lever, that's going to turn the game rule for that on. And now what I want is one more command block, and I'm going to have that one set in random tick speed to 0. And I'm just going to pop a button on there so I can turn off the random tick speed. So now there's no cactus going to be growing. And you could say, well, why don't you just turn off random tick speed when it gets to an hour rather than fiddling with that command block? And that would work just as well. But I'm not going to do. In fact, that would actually be quite a sensible thing to do. Geez. Okay, I'm changing all of this. So in order to keep the teleport one simple, we're just going to leave it how it was to start with, which means it will teleport any cactus that is grown in that amount of time into there, regardless of score. However, on this one, what we're going to have is another command block. This one needs to be another repeating command block. And this is going to do execute at all players whose scores are greater than 1 hour, run game rule random tick speed 0. So that's going to turn off the random tick speed, which will stop the farm from working. And random tick speed, it's going to tell me that it is currently off. If I turn this on, it should now, if I and run it again, it should tell me that it is off. So that's all working. Reset my timer and do a 1 hour test, which of course means I need to empty out this chest first. Put those items, get ourselves in a position to actually see things, I guess, and I already see some stuff going. The timer's already running, so I don't need to worry about being slow, and I'm just... Okay, we are now approaching the 1 hour mark. We are at 3,530, not long to go. And funnily enough, actually recording this slows down the timer significantly. When I stop recording, it goes a lot faster. But there we go, we're nearly there. It should stop putting cactus in the box now, and that is what we get if this farm was 100% lossless after 1 hour. So we can turn off our machine, we can make sure that the farm isn't generated anymore, we can turn off that just in case, and now we can go and get ourselves a chest, and we can transfer all of this cactus into this chest here. which means putting the hoppers back in, making sure this one is good in the chest. We have not very many at all. Means that this design with all of the cactuses packed together gives us a 74% loss. So 74% of the cactus, according to my maths, is getting lost and eaten on other cactuses, which means we're only actually getting 26% of the items. And this is where my idea comes. Stash away a whole bunch of these cactuses so that they're not all too close to each other. Less loss and therefore more items per hour. Cactus is there, and this means there are only now 20 cactuses per layer as opposed to 40. So if we was to expand this glass out by 1 row in each direction, but for the sake of this test, the ground, they're going to go in there. They are. That's wonderful. And that means I can do my hours test all over again 2 more times. Okay, both the baseline test and the loss test have been run, and the results are in. 200 cacti better than 400? There's only one way to find out. And the answer is, with 74% loss equal 280 items per hour. However, 200 cactuses with 40% loss equals 324 items per hour. We got that many. Whereas with the first system we got... It's more for less. It's more for... So I basically... Oh man, I've wasted so much time adding in all of those extra cactuses, and now I've got to rebuild the entire thing. And on that terrible note, it's time to end. Goodbye, peeps.